Hello guys. Today I'm going to discuss about notice and email, another type of composition. I would categorize them as short composition which you usually get in your exam. ICSE class 10 question number 3 is about notice and email only. 5 marks for notice and 5 marks for email. And one thing that you need to understand that the question for both the compositions means notice and email is the same. All right, they are related to each other. Okay, so now let's see how to write a notice and email effectively so that you get full marks in that. So let's discuss about notice writing first. Notice is a means of formal communication. Please understand formal communication targeting a particular person or a group of people. See, we always draft a notice and it is meant for display actually. We issue a notice. It may be to a particular person or to a group of people. What you get in your paper is about a group of people, right? You have to write it for a group of people. The objective of writing a notice is to provide information about an important event. That important event can be a celebration, that can be a festivity, that can be a function. And you see, most of the questions, that you get in your exam are related to some social event, basically, or some school event, okay, where you need to inform the students about it. It is generally written and then displayed at a public place where it is accessible to all. Now, as I told you earlier, we draft a notice to display it to the on the notice board, and that notice board can be at a public place. So, if you are writing a notice for your school event, of course, you are going to put it on the school notice board so that all students and teachers may come to know about it. They can be pasted on notice boards. If it is meant for a wider audience, it can even be published in a newspaper. See, usually the notices given by government, you will see that they are often published in the newspaper, right? But the kind of notice that you write, that is meant for notice board. I have given the format of notice. Please see, the first and foremost component of a notice is creative title. Creative title means that it must be a kind of catchy headline, be creative and innovative about the subject, and it must be related to the subject. Okay, so after creative title, leave a line and then give the subject. Now, please understand, for example, in your paper, the question is that you have to write a notice to inform the students about an inter-school quiz competition. Right now, for that, if you write the subject as inter-school quiz competition, but this is what has been given in the question as well. So it's not that you will be given 1 mark for writing exactly what has been given in the question paper. You need to add something to what is given in question. Adding something means either you give it a title, a name, quintessence, any title that comes to your mind, or you make it some sort of memorial, or you inform that it is being held on some important occasion, right? So something should be added in the subject when you write. After that, date, time, venue. These are three main components for any notice, because notice is the information about some event. So you need to tell date, on what date the event is going to be held, time, and venue. Now, please look the way I have written. Date has to be written in this way only. In my video of letter writing, I have told you another American way of writing date also, where it can be written like August 11, 20, 22, 23, whatever. Now, other than these, you need not to write date in any other format. Okay, short form of date will not be accepted. If you write the month in the short form, that will also not be accepted. After that, time. Time, see, if there is a fixed time, like, see, if event is there, of course it will be there for a period of time. So that period of time has to be mentioned, like 9 a.m. to 12 noon. If it is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., please look at the way am is written over here, a dot m dot, anti-meridian and post-meridian, whatever way you write it, please write it in proper format. After that, venue. Now, in venue, you need to mention two things. One is the smaller location and another is the larger location. Like here, as I have given theater, the Oasis. Oasis is the name of institution. It can be the name of your school also in case, or if it is happening in some public place. So if you are writing some hotel or something, then you must write the name of the city in which the hotel is there or that hall is there, right? And then last line should always mention target audience. Target audience means for whom this notice is meant, person to contact. If you have to, yeah, like if you are asking for the people to participate in it, then who should be contacted for that, like whom to give the names or consult for any kind of query. And yes, deadline should also be mentioned. Like if the event is to be held on, for example, as I told you, if it is some quiz competition and you are writing this notice to invite the students to participate in it, so you will give a deadline that whosoever is interested must give their names to such and such person latest by this date. Okay, and that date has to be according to the date of event. If it is on 11th August, so you will ask like latest by 2nd August, the name should be given by the interested students. I hope it is clear. Okay, now let me tell you something more, you see, about notice writing. That is the content. I have already told you in what way that content is to be given. But please understand, when we write a notice, these are the questions that have to be answered. Like what? What is the notice about? The notice should be clear about what is going to happen if it is an event, or has already happened if it is an occasion. This is the crux of the message and should be written clearly. There should not be any ambiguity. Okay, ambiguity means it must not be unclear to anybody. It must be very much clear. So the catchy headline and subject is going to help you with that. Then where? If the notice is about an event, then the location of such an event must be written clearly. The venue or the location are important details. So make sure to include this in the notice. So, venue, which I gave you the point, date, time, venue. Venue is going to answer this. When? This is the time and the date of the event or meeting. If possible, the duration of the event should also be mentioned to people can, so that people can schedule their time accordingly. Okay, so date and time, these two things answer this. After that, who? This will be to whom the notice is addressed. Target audience that I mentioned. Who all are supposed to adhere to the notice should be clearly mentioned to avoid confusion. Like if you are saying students of classes 9 to 12 only, or all the students of the school are invited, so it must be clearly mentioned who it must be clearly mentioned to whom you are addressing that notice. And yes, whom, and final detail should be whom to contact or get in touch with. This mentions who the appropriate authority is to contact. All right, so this is the content. And again, I am showing you in what way you have to fit this content. So creative title and subject is going to tell us what is the notice about. Daytime, venue, it is going to tell us when and where. And the last line, which is for 1 mark, it should tell about all other details like whom to contact, what is the target audience, means who are the people who are supposed to attend that event, and the deadline. Right now, look at here. I have given the marking scheme also. For creative title, you are given 1 mark. Subject is for 1 mark. Date is for half mark. Time half mark. Venue half plus half. Total 1 mark. Half is for smaller location and half is for larger location. And then last line also has the weightage of 1 mark. All right. Now let's talk about email writing. Email, which stands for electronic mail and is a method of sending, receiving, and producing information over the internet through an electronic communication system. Emails are generally used to communicate for official purposes. So one thing that you need to understand, children, that both these compositions are formal. Okay, they are meant for official purposes. So the tone, the language has to be formal. I have already discussed a lot about this in formal letters. So this email is also a kind of, the way you used to write letters. Now the precise way of letter is an email in a way, right? So all the things that, about the expression that I have explained in my video regarding letter writing, please watch it. You will be able to understand what kind of language, what kind of tone you are supposed to use while writing an email. Now, what are the content? Let's talk about the content of an email. First of all, of course, email address. Make sure you type in the exact email ID of the receiver to whom you are sending. Always cross check before sending, because even an unwanted full stop can land your email at the wrong address. So see, of course, you will not be provided any email address. You will have to devise it on your own. So write the email address. For example, if you are asked to write the email to the manager of an institution, so you can always make the email like manager, name of the manager xyz @gmail.com. It should look like an email ID, right? Plausible email ID has to be written. Then subject line. The subject line is the next most essential factor that should be considered, because that is the first thing anyone receiving the email would see. It is also the determining factor if the receiver would want to open the mail. So subject has to be specified. And children, for you, let me tell you, the subject that you are giving in the notice, the same subject can also be given for the email if it is same in the question. But if the email is to be written for a different purpose and the notice is to be written for a different purpose, of course, then the subjects are going to be different. Right? Like, for example, I gave you the notice is about an inter-school quiz competition, and the email you are writing to some person requesting him to judge the competition, okay, or inviting him as chief guest. So the subjects are going to be different. In the notice, the subject will be inter-school quiz competition, and then of course you'll add something to it. But in the email, the subject is going to be invitation to inter-school quiz competition, right? So subject has to be written accordingly. Then salutation or greeting, it must be suitable for the receivers. And you see, most of the time, the salutation, the way you use it in your formal letter, the same kind of salutation like dear sir, dear madam, that has to be given in the note, in the email. Body of the email states what the email is all about. Be very clear with what you want your receiver to know. Make sure you jotted down everything you want to convey, drafted in simple terms. It should be very simple, short, and easy. Now, this body of the email, ICSE children, I'm telling you especially, because notice and email, they both are about the same event. So whatever points you have given in the notice in bullet forms, like date, time, venue, they should be written in the sentence form in the email. Okay, so one paragraph has to be about that only. Then sign off the email on a humble note. You can write thanks and regards or warm regards. The closing should be good and hopeful so that the receiver wants to respond. Now, let me show you the format of an email here. Here, plausible email ID. Plausible email ID means exactly the kind of email ID, you know, @gmail.com, yahoomail.com, whatever. Then subject, it can be same as notice, but as I told you that if the purposes of the notice and email are different, then subject can be different also. Then salutation, dear sir. After that, opening sentence, body and close. Of course, opening and closing sentence, they are in the body itself, but I have mentioned them differently, but I have mentioned them separately because they have separate marks. Opening sentence is for half mark, and you see, give a direct opening to your email. You can always write, our school is hosting this and this program, okay, on such and such date or at such and such time at such and such venue. Okay, so that has to be mentioned. Body, and then closing sentence can be like, we look forward to, we would be happy to have you, something like that. And then yes, subscription, signing off, you know, it can be same as formal letter. So in the body, all bullet points of notice should be given in sentences. I hope you understand. And with this, I think you'll be able to score 10 on 10 in this question. Thank you so much. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.